Hello everyone, it's Scott O'Mato and welcome to a set of videos on the mod Dooglamoo Cities for Minecraft. Dooglamoo Cities is a really cool mod that is an auto builder to create city type structures, skyscrapers and various building types as well as roads and subways, and also do various forms of industry automation like farms and ranches and lumber mills and things of that nature in a very unique and interesting way. Now, it's kind of a complex mod, so we are going to do a deep dive into all aspects of the mod in these videos. I'm not sure how many parts it'll be, but we'll try to cover it in as much detail and as quickly as we possibly can. So let's get started. Now, to start the mod, one of the best ways to get started is to locate an abandoned city. Now, in your world, when you create a new Minecraft world, there's going to be 3 different cities that are in the world. The first one is a medium-sized city, and that's what we're looking at here. It's an abandoned city in the sense that some of the windows are broken, the lights are missing. Some of the areas will be buried, like this part of the road is buried in the biome. The road would continue here and over here, but they are buried. Then there's actually buildings that are completely submerged and buried in this particular biome, like here you can see. But these cities can be used for salvaging various blocks and items that you can use to build your new buildings. Also get an idea of how the buildings look, the different materials that are used, and get some ideas that way. Also, they can be rebuilt, and so you can form a working city from these abandoned cities. And so it's a good thing in the beginning to locate one. Now, how they spawn is they spawn in a band that is within 1,000 blocks of the world center of 0, 0. So I spawned 1,229 blocks away here to this location, from this location. And so you're going to want to move out to less than 1,000, but somewhere between 750 and 1,000 in the X and Z coordinates in your world. So you may go to, say, X 750, Z negative 750, or Z 750, X negative 750, or negative 750, X negative 750, Z, somewhere along that band. So if you go out around the 750 mark, the cities are big enough that you should be able to see them in your render distance. So you can discover them by adventuring in your world. This first one is within the 1,000 block radius from the world center. Now the 2 more, which are large cities, the difference being that they have more roads and they have the large towers. Here we just have the regular towers in this medium-sized city. They're located at the 3,000 block band. So somewhere around the coordinates of 3,000 in your world. So you may want to go and locate those. Now, there's 3 ways that you can locate them. The first one we mentioned is by adventuring, and most likely if you're playing a pure survival world, that's how you'll do it. Another way is to use a locate command, which is new to Minecraft 1.11.2 and above. So you can use the locate command and choose locate abandoned city and use that to find the coordinates of the city. And that's showing it here at negative 504, negative 396. So that is how I found this city. So you can use the locate command and it'll take you directly to the city. And then the third option is to purchase a city explorer map from a cartographer villager. So the cartographer villagers have the white uniforms. They're kind of like librarians. But if you go through the series of trades with them, the 3rd level trade after the empty map, and then the Ocean Explorer map, and then the Woodland Explorer map, you'll get the City Explorer map. So it costs quite a few emeralds to do that. That's kind of a late game thing. It'll take you several dozen emeralds to be able to purchase this map, but if you do, then it will show you a city location on the map, and you can use that to locate the abandoned city. Now let's quickly take a look at the structure of some of the buildings here in an abandoned city so we can get an idea of how these cities are made and thus make our own or reconstruct some of this. So there's basically three types of buildings. You could see in the mod itself that there's not that many types of blocks in the Dooglamoo mod. There's basically 3 or 4 types of blocks. So there's the industry blocks, which I mentioned are automation blocks for gathering resources and providing food and farming animals and things like that. So of those blocks, there's the farm, the lumber mill, the ranch, the mine shaft, the quarry, the fishery, the garden, the bakery, the carpenter, textile, blacksmith, stonemason, craftsman. Okay, and those are all the industry types of blocks, and we'll go over each one of those in upcoming videos in deep detail. And then there's also the building blocks, which are the types of buildings that you can build in this mod. So there's the office, the factory, the large factory, the tower, the large tower. And then there's the networking type of blocks, which allow you to communicate between the industries to transfer goods, purchase and transfer goods. So there's, in that type, there's the distributor, the warehouse, and then a special one for creative mode. If you just want to learn the mod, there is a cheater block, which we'll go over in a little bit of detail. And then somewhat in the building category, there's the bulldozer, which can take down buildings or clean out areas of the world for you to build in. And then also in the construction, there's the roads and the intersections. The last type of blocks are the economy blocks, which are the seller, the buyer, and the tax collector. And then these special blocks for partially for crafting, partially for using the money system, which we'll go over in some detail later. So there's the coin pouch and the survey tool for that. Now, each one of these blocks is rather inexpensive. So let's, for instance, look at the office block, which just requires 4 cobblestone and a redstone, whereas the factory blocks 4 cobblestone and a gold nugget. The large factory, which is basically just 2 factories put on top of each other, which we'll see, is 4 cobblestone and a gold ingot. The tower is 4 cobblestone and a diamond. And the large tower, and these are the skyscrapers, are 4 cobblestone and a block of diamond. So not very expensive overall, but the real cost comes in the materials that you'll need to build each one of these buildings. And you can see that something like a tower or a large tower requires a lot of blocks, as well as requiring iron blocks. So let's just look at those various types of buildings and how they're structured, and we'll get an idea here. So for instance, this one is the factory building. So the factory building covers a full chunk, which you want to know that you can enable chunks by F3 and G. If you press the F key button and the G button, you can enable the chunks to be seen. So you could see that a city is laid out along chunk boundaries. So that includes the roads, and these types of buildings, more than one can go in a chunk, but otherwise all the buildings will be within a chunk themselves, and then the city itself will be laid out along chunk boundaries. Now, if you have any eye, which I do in this pack, then you can turn on NEI with the F9 key. And so you could use the NEI chunk borders, which this is just showing the chunk borders. And then this one will show the chunks with the a full outline around them. So it's similar to what you'll see with F3G, but F3G is common amongst all types of Minecraft. You don't need any special mods installed. So having understood that each one of these buildings goes around a chunk, we can begin to see the structure of them. And a good tool to do that as well is using your journey map. In a journey map, you can see, if you have the grid on, that each one of these grid blocks here represents a chunk. So a city is well covered in how this map is set up. And so this city, for instance, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. A 9 by 9 chunk is how this medium city is set up here. And you can easily see that laid out on the journey map and know that your roads are here and here, but they're just buried at this point in the abandoned city. So again, looking here at the factory type of building, it covers the full chunk. So it's 16 by 16 all the way along this front and outer edge. So it's defined by the stairs, the upside down stairs that are a rim around it. And then some of the scaffolding blocks, the structural blocks here on the outside with some slabs, and then the wood floors. So we'll go over the materials for each one of these types of buildings, but that is a small factory, whereas this one is the large factory. So you could see that it's basically just two factories put on top of each other, two of the full factories put on top of each other. Now, as you can see, some of these are buried, but not buried very deeply. But that would be the full structure on that. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 levels with two of them stacked on top of each other. The difference being that this second level doesn't have the doors in it. So another type of building is the office building. And the office building is a small building of which 4 can fit in one chunk. So it is a 6 by 6 building with 2 spaces in between them. So when you put them next to each other, you'll have 2 spaces in between them because it's 6 by 6 on the outside, and up to 4 can fit in one chunk. So they give you a little bit of options for variety of layout and tiling. Like, for instance, you could see that there's 3 of them in this chunk, and 3 in this chunk, and 2 in this chunk. So it's the only one of the building types of which more than one can fit in a chunk, and you do have some variety in how you lay them out. So you could create courtyards or things like that between the buildings. So the office building itself is rather simple with just 4 floors. This one's buried. Not too bad, just along the edge. And it has some upside down stairs in an entryway, and then the structural blocks on the outside, and glass and ladders inside, and then a wooden floor. So that's the office one. And then the last one is the tower. The tower are the large skyscrapers, and they're very prominent in the city. So this one's buried quite a bit, but it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 floors. So it has 4 floors in a section, per section. And you can see that the section is divided by in this case it's sandstone, but in a planks type block or stone type block that divides them. And then inside there's carpet, bookcases, kind of a center section where you could have an elevator or something like that. And then it has iron blocks on the outside. So once you've discovered an abandoned city, you could actually get quite a bit of iron that you can salvage from these. And then the large tower version is just another one of these towers placed on top. So it goes very high in the sky and takes a lot of materials and is rather an expensive building to build. both in resources and in the time that it takes to build them. So those are the three basic types of buildings and how they're laid out. Now you'll notice that each one can be built with a different set of blocks, which will give it a different look. So it can have a block palette. So for instance, this one is nether brick, and it has jungle wood planks as the floors. It has just regular glass panes in it, and then it has stone bricks for the stairs and for the outside, and then the variety of stone bricks. So it has cracked stone bricks, mossy stone bricks, as well as the regular ones. Whereas this factory here is using blocks of quartz, acacia wood, regular wood, or regular glass panes, and stone on the outside. The towers can also have some variety. So that one has birch wood with red carpet, and then it has some granite in the inside. There's polished granite, and then the iron on the outside. So it's good to look at one of these abandoned cities and see which types of blocks that you like. This one has bricks, regular bricks. I guess that's oak wood, and then stone on the outside. And so here's an office that uses stone slabs and one that uses sandstone. So you could get a variety of looks from the block palettes that you choose. Now, keep in mind, you can only use vanilla blocks. So you do have quite a bit of options to choose from, but you can only use vanilla blocks. So the offices, you can see, use stained glass, regular stained glass of different colors, and they have bigger windows. They have windows on 3 sides. So actually, I guess it's 2 sides. Yeah, 2 sides. So there, and then the solid walls on the other side. And then we looked at the warehouse here, which uses glass panes. I'm not sure if you can use stained glass in them. I don't believe that you can. And then the towers, you can use stained glass, and they have different color stained glass available to them, which gives them a completely different look. So those are the building types and the layout of a city. The city itself also has, as mentioned, a road in it. When you first find the abandoned cities, there will be no lights in the city. There also can be mob spawners in some of the buildings, but it's not really dangerous in the sense of it being completely overrun with mobs, usually. Keep setting my day here. Except in the subways. So this would be an example of the road that you can build. And again, this road is buried all the way throughout the city. And then this is a subway entrance. So down here in the subway, it's very dark, and there's mobs that can spawn in here. I'm in peaceful at the moment, so we wouldn't see the mobs. But as mentioned, there's also some mob spawners throughout the city. Here's one here in this factory. And so you can conquer that, but there's not loot chests in the buildings themselves. There can be some coin pouches somewhere throughout the buildings that you could locate that could get you started with a little bit of money. And we'll talk about the money system and all that as we move forward. So that is the abandoned city and how to find it, and the structure of how they are made, and the structure of buildings. In the next set of videos, we'll look at how to use some of the building blocks and some of the construction blocks to rebuild parts of the city and rebuild new buildings in the city, and start to flesh out how to use this mod in a more constructive way. So I hope you enjoyed that. This is the first video in this series on Dooglamoo Cities, and there's not a lot of videos out there, so please leave me feedback and comments. Let me know how you like the video. Let me know what your questions are about this mod, and if I get anything wrong, then please correct me and I will try to make a note of that in the video. But I do thank you so much for watching, and this is Scotto Motto. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.